Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Critics Corner. I am here again with my friend and fellow movie critic, David Dunn. How
Hey,
you
everybody.
doing?
What'd you
Well?
say? Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Still on lockdown from COVID-19 or COVID-1, as Kellyanne Conway likes to say it. Just planning out my meals, planning out my sleep schedule, everything out shebang. Everything's going good. Getting very familiar with Netflix, as it turns out.
Yeah, same here. So I'm kind of glad I bought the subscription beforehand.
Preach, preach. Now all I'm wondering is what other streaming services I might be able to include on top of that. My 1,200 government check, I can spread that out for quite some time. So
I think you'll be good for entertainment as far as that goes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
This week's movie is Coffee and Cream, and it's one I picked, and it had the actor from what was that film? The Hangover.
Yep.
I always thought he was funny in there, and thought, well, let's give this a shot. So, your thoughts here?
Yeah. So Coffee and Kareem. I had not heard about this movie before your suggestion, Andy. Like you, I am a moderate Ed Helms fan. I don't go head over heels over the guy, but I enjoyed him in The Hangover. I love him in The Office. And I think in any other comedic role he is in, he's usually really good at it. This movie is not one of them. This movie, holy crap. It was just how should I say? I want to say it was it was a 100-minute cringe fest. If SoundCloud rappers could be put into a movie, this would be that movie. This movie is basically SoundCloud rappers, the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, I'm sorry. They took every stereotype put every stereotype in this film, and this. I don't mind a little swearing, but I mean, for the whole entire movie, oh my gosh, I think my ears were bleeding once. I was glad to see the credits roll on this thing.
Yes, seriously.
Ed is great in a supporting role, but he doesn't need to be the lead, at all.
Here's the problem. I think Ed Helms can be in the lead in a good movie, whether it's comedic or dramatic, right? Jason Bateman is mostly known for a lot of his comedic roles, and he can do really good dramatic roles like in Ozark. The problem is, first of all, I want to stay on the point you saying about stereotypes. This movie is stereotypes up the wazoo. I'm not just talking about the goody two-shoes cop with the mustache and the donuts and everything else. I'm not just talking about him, but the kid who's the wannabe rapper. He's generic. His mom, the strong black single woman, that's a stereotype. The antagonists in the movie, they're all black gangster stereotypes. There's a dirty cop in this movie. There's so many things that's generic. Generic is the key word here. And as far as Coffee, I think we are getting a little ahead of ourselves here. So the story is basically about this police officer named John Coffey, who he's dating this black woman played by,
I think it's James Coffey.
Probably James Coffey. That's how forgettable this movie is. I can't even remember his name. But James Coffey is dating Taraji P. Henson, who, even in bad movies, she's always really good. Like, she has a really funny bit in this movie where she's taking out, two gangsters, and they're terrified of her by the time it's over with. So she's good in moments like that. But she's his love interest, and her son, Terrence Little, plays her son, and they basically go on this buddy cop movie together. It's buddy cop wannabe gangster movie. And the problem is, just none of the characters, none of them are likable. You like Taraji P. Henson a little bit just because she has that personality, that charisma. Ed Helms is just a klutz to this whole thing. You couldn't make him any klutzier if you put him in a C-3PO costume. Like, he just is bad through it all.
Yeah.
And all the other actors, they feel like they're playing it up for a skit, but it isn't a skit. It's a 100-minute movie, and it's cringeworthy all the way through.
Oh yeah, it was just terrible. I mean, I wanted it to be similar to something like The Other Guys, or Turner and Hooch, or which is a classic. And if you've never seen Turner and Hooch, something's wrong with you. You need to go see it.
Why? Yeah.
Awesome. But just some, or like Lethal Weapon. You have great buddy cop kind of movies, But this was just bad. That a couple minutes into getting to know Kareem was just, I just wanted to punch him in the face. It was that his performance was that.
Kareem has a very punchable face in the movie, huh?
It was annoying.
Well, here's the thing. Most of the movie, yes, he is annoying. Most of the movie, he's crass, he's crude, he's raunchy. He says things in the movie that sound very uncomfortable coming from a 12-year-old kid. Like, there's a part early on where he's rapping about what he would do sexually with his Asian teacher.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this. I'm like, what am I listening to? Like, is this what we want to be teaching our kids? Is this something we even want kids to even mimic? Like, it's so unbelievably awkward. But the thing is, there are some parts of the movie. There are a couple of lines where you're either listening to him or James Coffey, one of them, and they deliver good lines. Like, they're funny moments. Like, there's one part where they're circling this roundabout, right, with this other dirty cop. And it's two, cop cars going round around the Rosie, and that's kind of funny. But then Kareem gets on the speakerphone.
Yeah.
And he says, this girl's just mad because she looks like an old Taylor Swift on meth. I was like, okay, that is objectively funny because of who he was speaking about. But then other lines, he's talking about, like, oh, to be hard, you got to be gay and aggressive. And then James Coffey tries doing that later on in very grotesque language, and it does not work at all.
Like he's going out with the guy he's interrogating. It just made me just cringe. Oh, I guess cringe is the right word for it. I mean, it was
cringe isn't the right word, only because there isn't a right word to describe the reaction I had to that scene. No. I wanted to scrunch myself into a ball and fold myself underneath my couch because I was so uncomfortable. I was like, what is this? And I have a theory the actor in that scene, that the gangster he's trying to intimidate, because he was acting really grossed out. He's like, what, man? What are you talking about? I have a theory that wasn't acting. I have a theory that he was just listening to Ed Helms spat out this nonsense and was just legitimately creeped out. I would be terrified out of my mind.
Yeah. But, I mean, I get what they were trying to do with his character, where he would say these nasty things. It was funny at first, but 90 minutes of this, it's kind of like, I heard a comedian say once, even though you put a joke to a laugh track, and it's not funny, Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have an audience responding to it, and you put a joke to a laugh track and you have that simulated laughter, it's still not funny. And that's kind of how I felt about this movie.
It's like it may have been funny, or even a little bit amusing at the first reference. But the problem is with that line, like so many other throwaway jokes in this movie, they beat it over the head so many times that by the time you're done with it, you're just like, okay, it's not funny anymore. Move on. Do something else. There was another bit in this movie where Kareem kept calling Coffee a pig, right? Which, generally speaking, I don't like it when law enforcement is referred to in that derogatory term. I'm not getting into it. That's whatever views you are on that. What I will say is that he would keep calling him a pig, and then he'd be chatting his friend like all of these pig emojis, right? Like he'd have a pig, he'd have like bacon, ham emojis, all this stuff. I'm like, dude, this is not funny. This is childish, immature,
Wow.
stupid. The jokes aren't landing, but
Well, and the whole premise that, he's picking him up from school and he has to take him somewhere. And you would think, and the place he takes him I mean, I grew up in the greater Detroit area. Detroit is a rough place. There's certain areas in Detroit you don't want to be at night or even during the day. And he drops him off at this, like, he's dropping him off and he's going to wait for him. And it's at this, like, gym inside this really sketchy kind of half abandoned building looking thing. And I think, as a cop, he'd know what that area is just from the address. And that wasn't believable to me. I mean, why would you drop off a 12-year-old in the hood?
Another theory I have. Another theory I have. I think Ed Helms hated his co-star so much, Terrence Little, that again in that scene he wasn't acting. He was just dropping him off in a dangerous part of Detroit, and just hoping some gangster capped him, so he didn't have to work with him anymore. There was, and that's another thing in this movie. There actually is a Vine entertainer in this movie, Andy. I don't know if you caught him, but one of the gangsters, the guy with the backwards baseball, they all have backwards baseball caps. The guy who grabbed the plate of cornbread.
Oh, him. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's actually a Vine entertainer named King Bach. His name is Andrew Batchelor. And he's a funny guy. Like in his Vine videos, like I had a good time with them. He's very expressive. He's he's very wiry. He has a lot of personality when it comes to his Vine content. And again, here in this movie, it just sucks all the appeal out of him from the movie. It's like this movie is a vacuum of charisma, and all these actors that would be good under a good script and good director, it's just they're null and motionless here.
Yeah. Well, to me, a prime example of that, and I agree with you on that, is you look at movies that Will Ferrell is in, for example. Will Ferrell is a very funny and comedic actor. He's done a couple of good dramas, Stranger Than Fiction, Everything Must Go, Casa de Mi Padre, which was very funny. But if you let him loose to go all over without any sort of direction, the movie's gonna be horrible. I mean, that's been shown, numerous times in films like, Kicking and Screaming, the second Anchorman movie, which was bad. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. It was bad.
It was definitely on repeat from the first Anchorman. It was basically the first Anchorman, but not done as well.
Yeah. But I mean, Will Ferrell is an example of that. But if he's placed under direction, he can produce some really funny stuff, and he can do some really great dramatic stuff. I think with this film, I think if the script was maybe edited maybe a little bit better and a lot taken out of it, but I don't know. I mean, this thing was kind of already on life support when it came to Netflix.
I think this movie is straight to Netflix because of its quality. I think everyone's like, oh, we produced this piece of crap. Okay, shotgun it out there. No one's gonna watch it anyway. Everyone's watching Tiger King, But yeah, no, and I agree. It's sloppy, it's messy, it's inconsistent, it's unfunny, it's awkward. It's just so many levels of unpleasant that by the time I was done, I was like, I need to take a shower. I can't deal with this.
Oh, I would say if it was a regularly released film that came through like a traditional type of studio, this thing would be out of the theaters within a month, and then in the bargain bin at your local Walmart within 3 weeks, and promptly forgot of.
This movie would have gotten the Bucky Larson treatment if it was released in theaters. It would have come in under the radar, be ripped to shreds by any unfortunate soul willing to see it. It would shamefully exit theaters, become a box office bomb, and would be mocked incessantly for many, many weeks after that. I cannot imagine what mockery this movie would have faced if it had gotten a wider audience. Well, granted, it was released straight to Netflix, so maybe it is getting a wide audience. I just hope many people don't waste their time and stumble onto this crappy film that no one else would give the light of day for, rightfully so.
Well, I almost felt like, well, I've come this far, I might as well see it end, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I finished it.
Yeah. I only finished it because we had this review. That's the only reason why. If I didn't, I would have turned it off in the first 15 minutes.
I would have watched Tiger King again.
Yeah, seriously. At least that show's funny.
It's good.
Yeah. And another point I want to iterate on this, I actually feel like this is one of those cases where the movie's R rating hurts it. I feel like the movie may have been a little more entertaining, or at least a little bit more charming, if the content was cut back into a PG-13. But the R rating, with all the content in here, with all the strippers, with all the violence, with all of the vulgarity this kid is speaking, it doesn't, it's tonally completely off-putting.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I guess, so Coffee Cream, scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this movie?
Solid 2. I have not seen a comedy this bad in a very, very long time.
1.5.
Hey, we're close, 0.5 differentiator, so we're at least close to the mark.
Yeah. We both agree that it's bad. Don't go see this movie. Don't waste your time.
Go watch Roma instead.
If you want to see a good buddy cop movie or a good cop movie, watch Police Academy. For the love of God, watch that. That's a lot better.
Or you could watch Sonic the Hedgehog. Just saying.
Yeah, I'd go see that. I would definitely go see that.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to wrap up this week's edition of the Critics Corner. We will be back next week. If you have any suggestions or comments or questions or things you want us to go watch, you can email me at andrew@waxahachiesun.com or
david@southlakestyle.com.
Okay. Well, that's gonna do it. We'll see you at the theaters or at the couch next week.
See you on the couch, everybody.